have to be really weird.
Yeah.
Get awkward all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm already there.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Cue the music we don't have. Big church hymn.
Oh, yeah, right. All right, so this is the Holyish Life.
Can I have your attention, please?
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Holyish Life. We are excited today because we're doing our very first interview.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And it's the one and only Will, who also happens to be Sarah's brother.
Yeah.
I am the big sister.
And he's just the baby brother.
Get that clear.
Yeah. Little brother on the inaugural. Pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
A really big honor.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Massive fan base.
Sorry to my sister.
Yeah. She got canned.
Okay.
I stepped in.
You actually asked her first.
It's for the back.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out.
All right.
This
just got.
Everything happens how it's supposed to. I think that's like a very important thing to understand in life. And you are here, and it's going to be the best.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to discuss that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
We're going to be hitting that.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
So, Sarah, for our listeners, how would you introduce Will? And not like his CV. Like, I don't need to run down on his like professional life. More just like who he is.
Okay. So I obviously I'm kind of an off the cuff speaker. So I will start there, but then I actually wrote something down because I wanted to make sure I hit everything. And I had a feeling you would ask me something like that. So Will is my little brother. He's 3 years younger than I am. We grew up in Kansas City and we always went to the same schools. We were both really active and really social. So we had a lot of kind of, similar lifestyles and friend groups and ended up being really, really close and good friends. I would say like always, right? Like,
yeah.
Even like,
I'd say you're my best friend.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, I'm going to say that too.
Okay.
No, for real though. And my friends had siblings that were his age. Like it was just this really great community. So we really got to spend a lot of time together.
That's awesome.
Also when I rode horses, he had to spend a lot of time with me, like at the barn. He was like a champ little brother, hours every day,
Yeah, like
weekends, traveling.
Hanging out with Jack Russells and like reading like signs from those little woolly caterpillars and stuff like that. That's like what I did.
My mom put a TV
for like 4 hours a day, every day.
Yeah, we're like obviously
for 5 years.
Obviously we're like older, so we didn't have TVs in our car, right? So my mom put like a big TV in her car with the adapter and got his PlayStation or Xbox right where he'd sit in the back of her Volvo and like play PlayStation. And,
It was mostly pre-recorded tapes of Green Bay Packers games,
yeah,
but
that's right.
like I wish I had like a full like digital setup back then. But I think we tried one time and it was like a hard thing.
I mean, I remember it, so it happened.
You must have got then
something
happened. Yeah, Dad must have intervened.
Anyway, so he's a total G. And then we went to college. I obviously ended up in Dallas. He went to school in upstate New York. He played sports in college. And so actually everybody in my family has been a college athlete except for me. So really awesome badge of honor my kids like to remind me about. So anyway, that's just kind of his like brief history up to now. But what I took time and wrote down, because I think this gives like a good picture as to who he is as we go into this discussion, is my brother is my best friend. Before you even said it. I'm so nice. He's brilliant and cerebral. He's unconcerned with social norms and expectations. He's always moved through the world on his own terms. He's athletic, instinctive, and natural freestyle rapper.
Hey,
We're gonna get
that's another
that too,
episode,
right?
Yeah.
Like on the Holy Roller thing.
Yes, Holy Scrollers.
Scroller. Oh yeah, and explain that. No,
I'm sorry. Like, so freestyle rapper, which he really is. And he sometimes you wander, but like that never dulls your spirit. Ups and downs. Like I would say, you still stay really like fervent and very passionate about life and your people, which is really awesome. He has a really sharp mind paired with a wild and joyful humor. And I feel like our souls like high five. Like it's just, I never laughed harder than I laugh with you. Whether it's appropriate or not. So we'll save some of those.
That was nice.
We'll save those for later too.
That was really nice.
I got a little teary eyed. I was like, is it with this Will honor?
Well, I have the reputation of being a total biatch in my family, so
hey, she has to counterbalance it with something.
it's an older sister thing. I see all the memes. Like I'm like, oh, this is like a real thing.
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure.
I always just thought like Will's like, you deliver things so harshly. Why are you so judgmental? Which I'm not. You know I'm not. I have no room to judge. I have done it all, seen it all, like imperfect, holy-ish. But I think the way I communicate and come across is a little intense.
That's 100%.
Anyways, but I can be nice.
It's the mechanics of it. Yeah, it's not the intention. It's not. It's the mechanics.
Okay, well,
so Will, what did she get right about it, and what about you does she lovingly misunderstand?
You know, I think that she got pretty much all of it right. I think if you're talking about lovingly misunderstanding me, I think it's just a part of maybe how we view emotions. I think, if she would add one thing is maybe, and that would have been like my sensitivity, sentimentality, that I think that I do. I feel very deeply and I can express it immediately, where I think she has a more sort of like reserved processing mode of that emotion, and I'm more of like a feeler on the surface, and it leads to a lot of passion, it leads to good music, and it leads to good freestyle rapping and all that stuff. But that is one area where, and a lot of tears. Well, good Lord. All right. All right.
Ladies can cry too.
Thanks. Wow. This is really emasculating. But
and a whole lot of love.
And a whole lot of love. More lies. But
it's now the Arrested Development podcast.
Yeah, right. We're spinning that in. No, it's cool. So you like it, right? Yeah. So no, so I think that like maybe that's just an area where we don't cross over. So there is, I think so, or where we're kind of let's use this analogy, where we're running side by side, and like those wires don't intersect. Like we just might be like a little bit off with that. And I think it's just an emotional intelligence difference that we have. That is probably something that you didn't mention and that I do feel misunderstood about. And it always resolves itself though. Yeah. Like every time. Like even the other day we were both
speaking openly about, when there's a rough edge, in a relationship, like I feel like we are both fine to.
Yeah, and especially after a couple drinks, we'll get into very heady intellectual conversations.
I've been there for some of them.
She will unleash for those. That's the thing. She will allow herself to flow.
Like I need more popcorn. Because they can get after it. You two can get into it and get after it. But it's so entertaining because a lot of the times it's like way over my head. And I'm a relatively smart person. Like I've got a high IQ and it's still over my head. So just a testament to the relationship and how you guys play with each other. It's cool to see.
I wonder who of us has a higher IQ. Speaking of high IQs, we should test that.
My sister and I did. We have the exact same.
Stop! Really? That's really cool.
Pretty crazy.
I know. Yeah. And we have different dads, same mom.
Okay, that's
same IQ.
Yeah. So interesting. That's interesting because then you have to go to other areas to say I'm better than you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So, anyway, it's
you just like you just cross one off the list of things. Like, oh yeah, I'm better than you. Yeah. Well, next time we'll bring in a developmental psychologist and another scientist and get hooked up to tubes.
Pull up a chair.
4-hour episode. It'll be really dry.
Yes. Yeah. That'd be great.
But it'll be amazing.
All right. So speaking of all this cerebral stuff, so you guys grew up together. Will went off to college in upstate New York. So well, actually, this is more of a question for Sarah. Sarah, when you heard that Will was going to enroll in some religious studies classes, what was your initial reaction to that?
I wasn't really paying attention, honestly. So in college, I was in college. Yeah. He was in college. Like I said, he was in upstate New York. I'm in
You're in Dallas though.
Dallas, yeah. And all I knew was you were somewhere it was really cold and smart people went there and you liked Russia. That was it.
Yeah. I had a similar relationship with my sister. We weren't too involved in the minute details of each other's lives at that point.
At that point, I think college was one of those, And you actually did a good job of calling me, but I didn't pick up my phone for anyone that wasn't in my fraternity or a girl affiliated with that scene for 4 years. So that's not a personal thing. It was literally just me being a jackass.
Most sibling relationships go through that phase. And then you circle back and you're best friends and all the things. Okay, so then I'm going to pivot the question to you, Will.
Sure.
What sort of sparked you to want to sign up for those classes?
Hang on, wait, guys. I'm gonna say something really quickly. Cut. My mom called and she's on my like do not disturb list. It started again. I'm assuming it saved the first clip.
It did, because mine said like 100. Well, I'm assuming it did.
Okay, all right, we'll just go with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course, mom.
yeah. No, but like, and
She'd be so jealous, by the way, that she's not here right now.
100%. Yeah.
She loves the podcast.
We're gonna do this podcast, and then she's gonna have a podcast in a week.
Percent. with our faces.
Yeah.
There's like
on popsicle sticks.
And she's gonna have like 100,000
Like,
followers.
yeah.
We're like, dang it!
But just because it's like so weird.
Yeah. No, you're not. It's gonna be really weird. Like that was weird. It's gonna be 10 times better than that. Like even.
I want to see it. I will subscribe.
Okay. So why did I?
Yeah. Why did you sign up for these religious studies classes?
It was more of just my like absolute inquisitive and undying thirst for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like history is the subject and the major that lends itself to that probably the most. Within that major, I had two great professors, and they happened to be religious studies focused. They taught classes in American Christianity, which was a sweeping, comprehensive view of the religion going back, to Judea, through Nicaea, to the Schism, to the Reformation, all of that, and then how that impacted the Reformation and Western civilized development, import into America, follow that trend and that path. And it was fascinating to me. So I took one and then I took another. And then my other major, in addition to history, was Russian language, literature, and history. And I took a Russian Orthodox history class because I actually thought that religious history, because it's at the center of so much of what people would consider, and I might disagree, their souls, their identity, their intellect, their understanding, comprehension of all things, science, history, math, everything. I was like, well, I really want to have a deep understanding of this. And the classes that I took supported that want and need to indulge and dive as deep as I possibly could into what I thought was at the fabric of like human history, which I was trying to consume at a massive rate because I feel like I was an aspiring intellectual. That's like all I ever wanted to be, was a writer and intellectual. So it actually lended itself to that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Professional smart person.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I have, like I said, observed you guys having deep conversations about all sorts of things. I mean, it runs the gambit. But have you guys ever talked about faith? And like,
Absolutely.
assuming so.
Yeah.
I haven't been privy to them. And is that something you've always done, or is that newer? Was it sort of once you became educated on it, you felt more like?
I mean, I think it's newer.
Faith specifically, but I think we've always had really big like conceptual.
Civilizational, level thinking. Totally. And that's one thing that I've always loved about my sister is she's hyper intelligent. A sponge, and so we can go and take very deep dives. And she's very misunderstood, I think, to the external world in how smart she is. Everyone figures it out pretty quick because it's impossible not to. But so we went and had very deep dives. Now I think when it comes to like God and religion and the existence, efficacy, enforcement in our own lives and all these things, that's been newer. But we've done that a lot, actually. And, I have a different opinion than she does, but I feel like the conversations we have are effective, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I see your Substack. I see some Ecclesiastes in there.
That's my favorite book. Yeah. That's some philosophical shit.
Right. Yeah. So as you kind of went through these classes and you learned a little bit more about religion, especially through the eyes of a historical accounting of it, did that make you feel closer to religion, further from religion? Did it make you feel like you had a better understanding of how people could be faith-based?
In short, and you guys aren't going to like this answer, but
there's no wrong.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. You guys were very upfront about that, and I'm gonna be very honest.
That's what we want.
And I'm a writer now, and if I'm not honest, then I am nothing, basically. So I'm gonna harness that. History actually sort of destroyed God and religion for me. at the time where I was studying a ton of history, more than logic or science or anything like that, it was history that really sort of like took this, like reframed everything into this, oh, this is just a very common human cycle of looking for meaning. This could be any other idea. And when you go through the manipulations and the strategies and the political infusion of it, you just see, the sociology and the anthropology of it all across the world, everyone having religion, and what's so special about this one, and why is only 25% of the world Christian if the Christian God was the one that gave religion and is the true God. All of those things really, the science of history, the historiography, and the history actually did some serious damage to me on that point. I think it was a fear that my grandpa had me going to a school in the Northeast in New York and learning from all of these, radical intellectual thinkers. And I think that played out in a sense because I did I never had the same kind of faith as I saw other people have, but I started struggling with it more. In fact, I felt lied to from my parents, from society, from, the conventional standard of ideas and norms that I grew up in. And that was really tough.
Yeah.
So I do understand where religion fits in history, to answer that second part of that question. And certainly I have a much deeper understanding than most people I know or hang out with on this subject because of my knowledge of religious history and like how and why it was either wanted, needed, sought after, whatever it was, but it didn't help me in my faith.
Yeah.
So when you say like a common cycle of humans looking for meaning, what are outside of, and I'm not talking about Christianity, but obviously we are a tribal species, humans. Like, can you walk me through other examples of that? Like, what were other outside of religion, like where, I mean, I know it's like belonging to a fraternity or sorority, like just throw out some examples of.
Sure. I mean, really, really any social order with an ideology behind it. Marxism would be one that would like immediately jump to mind. And it also became very popular. In fact, more people were Marxists at one point than I think there are Christians in the world today, if you include China and Russia and their population centers, and then Vietnam and Indonesia or parts of it, and South America. And so, that would be one example I'm talking about. Cycles.
So are you also dissuaded of like about Marxism? Like, does that concept?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm inherently skeptical. I would I would call myself a reasonableist if that was a thing.
What's the alternative?
So let me step this question back though. So the way I'm just going to jump in, and there might be something I'm blowing up that I should say for the end, but I'm just going to go for it. So my issue, and this comes from my lifetime of observation, deduction, and the history side of it, especially, is that I just see God as essentially the initial energy that came into the universe, the presupposition of antimatter, the Kickstarter of all things, if we want to call it God.
Do you believe in God?
No.
Okay. But you believe that there's something that kickstarted?
I think,
something,
pun intended, it's God's best prayer for proof, is that the origin, that everything being started as initial energy from, call it the Big Bang, call it whatever, that Genesis creation, that it is that's the best argument for it, but that effectively that God is initial energy, and that same contracting and growing and evolving energy that exists in the superimposed states and in the antimatter to the matter that we're seeing now and in all through history and all universes and cosmos, that could be God. But I have misgivings about that. I don't know if that's necessarily some sort of intelligent, organized, creative or creation-oriented God, or if it was just random happenstance in the cosmos. Now, I think there's a great argument to be made for God in that. I would not shy away from that, especially if I was religious. I would lean into that shit. But I actually have more misgivings with organized religion because, and going to the cycles point, is that I really think of it as a reflection of a cerebral, social, evolved species living in a Stoic universe, which I think we can all agree, looking at all the animal behavior, human behavior, clouds, stars, galaxies, it's Stoic. There is no human morality infused in the laws of the universe. And so I just think it's a process of us reflecting on that and seeking meaning. And we're trying to find that meaning because we're social, we're cerebral, and it is a wildly Stoic universe, and that is ultimately what everyone in all cultures and all places around the world, not just Christians and monotheists, are looking for.
Yeah.
A story
Right.
that we can tell ourselves.
Yeah. I've heard this before. I had know other people who have the same thoughts. Sarah,
I
sorry.
have a question though. That like if it is a Stoic universe and we're all looking for morality and there are things that we can judge, I'll use the Christian church as an example. In its history, things that have been not good, like
Genocides.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, executing heretics and the Crusades and, you know, things that go on in the church today, right? Like objectively bad things in a Stoic universe isn't good or bad, right? There's been some sort of human attachment to a scale of goodness or badness at one point. And I think you would have to argue that it's probably largely from a Christian influence, especially in the Western Hemisphere, because there is that right, it's like a C.S. Lewis said something like this. There's like there has to be a mark which you're judging against, and where did that mark come from? In our history, we're able to say that was bad because we have the example of what is good, right?
So that is true. My rebuttal to that, though, would be that same sort of internal sense of goodness existed in China, and it existed in Africa, it existed in the North when it was pagan, and that there is an embedded social nature to us that wants to.
I'm sorry. Yes, I agree, but I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think this is a point that is, it's really funny how different our brains are. When I say Christianity, I am literally talking about Christ and like, you know, like that I believe that he, God, incarnated here because he loves us so much. And that is for everybody on this earth.
Yeah.
So I think that like the goodness I'm talking about is that universal love from that initial energy and the way that he continues to show up across the globe.
I see that.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess let's stay on this though, because I want to, and I know we're jumping way off the question pad, but if you know, you're supposing that universal love came from God and Jesus in particular,
right? Well, God, I mean,
but God,
it's God,
right?
Yeah, it's God. Yeah.
Well, and
because like Judaism, they don't necessarily think that Jesus is the son of God.
I know that's Arianism was the big debate
right.
around the schism and during the Council of Nicaea, which is he of God or is he from God?
Right.
And man or semi-divine or full divine. That was a massive debate.
Yeah.
These again were the things where I'm looking at and I'm like, the Bible was written posthumously. It was not an eyewitness account. Most of it was after, and they have the chemical records of the oxidation rates of the papyrus. They have all that stuff to show that it was a hodgepodge of ideas that got thrown together. There was no monolithic thing dropped down at any one time. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of just a point on the history part where I'm like, this is where I get like super skeptical because that reminds me of the cycles. That's just an idea that got put together over time. So that's an example of like where I would see that playing out. Like,
think just okay.
Just
sorry.
like
This is the longest podcast ever. But do you find it interesting that yes, it's a collection of ideas that were put together over a long period of time, obviously secondhand. Obviously, God didn't sit down with a pen and write the Bible, and so there's some interpretation.
I understand that, but yeah.
But
if it's so important,
I mean, I'm going to say again, just from my experience in my life, I don't care if that's true or not true. Honestly, the Bible literally speaks to me. There is nothing I have ever done or been able to connect with like that. So that's just one thing. Set that aside. In terms of history, I don't have these facts. I wish I did. We can probably Google it. Oh, all of our phones are recording. It was written over 1,100 years by all of these people. There's all of these connections, like over 60,000 or whatever prophecies that are fulfilled. Blah 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 blah. Like, how does that happen? Like, what you're saying is correct, but there's also something that points to it wasn't just a human searching and amalgamation of.
But the same thing happened in Hinduism and Taoism,
of course,
and in Islam. So if the universal
texts have that same sort of
hodgepodge nature. Yeah.
That
Yeah, of course.
tell the same
I mean,
story
think about
about-
the Sunnis and the Shiites. They split off
Yeah,
because they couldn't
yeah.
agree on the
Yeah.
role of Muhammad in his, posterity and the text.
Yeah.
So again, to me, it just feels like a very human experience. All these things you're describing could all be found within us. And yes, we are intrinsically a part of the nature and the energy of this universe. And I think there's a strong argument to be made that that is just God hands down. But the organized religion part to me is more complicated. And when I think about this, and I went back, I said this earlier, and I'll just ask you guys this question. I really want to know what you guys think. I don't want to put this back on you, but I really want to ask this question.
Okay.
If the Christian God is the one God, would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
The Christian God is the one God.
Yes.
I think that is God, and I think he also is the same God that is represented in different ways by different names with different feelings through other religious practices.
Okay.
And cultures.
All right. And that makes sense. So my question then, and I just want to know what you guys think, is then why is Christianity the religion that he sanctioned through his son who died on the cross for the savior of mankind? How come one, and it was miraculous that it even came to existence, and thanks to a couple guys and Constantine on his deathbed, and a few reasons why Christianity didn't just get snuffed out with all the other monotheistic religions which were developing at the same time in the same area. By the way, Christianity didn't stand alone. There were like 16 that were almost the same, but so why is only 25% of the earth Christian if it was his religion that he sent his son down to die for?
Because I think, in my opinion, and this is not from an educated viewpoint, this is just my personal opinion, that the other. So what are the other big ones? Obviously, there's Christianity. What do you say, Muslim?
Yeah, Islam.
Hinduism. I think some of the other big ones, it's like Allah, right? For example, I think that is the same God as our God. It's just a different name, and their text, the Quran, is similar to the Bible. It's just their interpretation under their, feelings of who Allah is. So in my mind, that's how that works out.
But if it all came down to feelings of how we feel about this God, then it's just one God. Christianity means the same as Islam, means the same as Hinduism.
A lot of it does.
That's my point.
And for me, there's so much overlap. If you were to take the religious texts of all of these different religions and open them up and dissect them, there is so much overlap that you can't help but think, okay, this has to be coming from some singular source. And what is that singular source? I believe it's the energy God.
Yeah, let's go with that. You're keeping me on the hook with that one. All right.
I think it's the energy God, and who, because it is impossible in my mind to think like one sect of people are going to perpetrate God's message. It had to be spread out to so many different sects and people's ways of thoughts and people's lifestyles and culturally where they were living and geographically speaking, that it couldn't be one size fits all. It had to be adapted.
Why? If it's an omniscient God who has control of all things.
Because why not? Here's the other one. Why not? Why wouldn't he?
Because it causes an immense amount of conflict. If I was an omniscient God, I would say everyone is of the same religion. They all get along.
How boring.
And boring is a very subjective notion. I don't think that can be interpreted in terms of Testament scripture and even science. I mean, I look at this like, I get what you're saying, and that would be my argument too. I would say, look, this is the same God, but cultural anthropologists and Darwin and a bunch of other people argued and made sense of that there was a very different scientific process that occurred to get human neuroscience and consciousness and the cerebral nature of our existence into a place where the human brain, which is now almost a black hole, we have not even studied a fraction of it, used to be the great seas that we never could see the end of, and they went on forever, and we use religion to make sense of floods and storms and famines and all these things that now we know there's actually a very logical scientific explanation for. I would say that there are, I'm not just saying Darwin because, my dad's going to kill me for this. Sadie's probably already getting mad. But again, I'm just saying, like, I think there is a very much more complex and yet at the same time easier explanation for all these things that you're saying, and it doesn't involve a god or a religion.
That's really sad.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
I would say philosophically, I'm a pessimist. In my day-to-day life, I'm an optimist.
Well, I was going to say, like, but can those, I mean, this is a whole other podcast.
Yeah, we are screwed.
I'll
Yeah.
leave that up.
Can
those things
can I come
still
back?
exist?
I feel like we have a lot to talk about.
Can you be an optimist when you're like that the
Hardly. That's why I'm a
deepest
writer.
human condition and longing is always going to be unsatisfied for you? Like, I don't think
Guys.
optimism comes out of that hole.
No, I agree. I don't think the way that I think about this
Yeah.
is the way to satisfy the body, the mind, the tribe necessarily.
Yeah, right.
I'm agree with that. I'm just saying that I'm going to borrow a quote from True Detective and Rust Cole. And actually, it was this guy named Ligotti. He was this Italian philosopher who, Nick Pizzolatto, who wrote the True Detective series, he based most of the philosophy of True Detective and Rust Cole's character around. But I'm going to borrow a phrase. I'm considered a pessimist. That is, but I think that human beings were an evolutionary misstep. That's dark.
Yeah.
That's dark. I don't love it.
What the heck are you talking about?
But wait, you know what? This is good because
being that was aware of itself with the consciousness it had to know its own mortality, like no other beings on Earth. I think that that's a tragic misstep in evolution. We are it's dark, but that is my like soul struggle.
yeah.
Like I mean SOUL struggle.
Yeah.
That is my like dark side. That is my poetry. But in my mind, it is also the truth. I don't think that the universe is roses and sunshine. And if you
Does anyone?
the rest, well, I don't know. Highland Park's pretty nice.
Yeah, but my God, the struggle that goes on inside the beautiful neighborhood.
Exactly.
So thanks, God.
My life, like,
I know. I'm
that's
saying
the
so.
thing,
We're thanking this guy for this. Thanks, man.
yeah, actually, I am
Because guess what? We created the turmoil. God gave us the ability to think, to manipulate, to
have free will.
Right?
Which is, I think
That was debatable
it's
from
God's
the.
social
That was debatable.
experiment. It's God's social experiment.
I-
Right?
That was debatable amongst Christians, theologians, and philosophers up until very
Well, we're
recently.
going to solve it today, Will. So
And
chill out.
I'm saying. So, and one thing that is in line with this.
Can I talk?
Okay,
Yeah.
both of you.
Yeah.
To finish your thought, but like, good Lord, I have something to
Stop
say.
it.
I thought I was getting interviewed.
You are, but
Okay,
like,
siblings,
discourse.
children, calm down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Well, I've asked questions.
No, you're doing.
You're good. You're great.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
great.
yeah.
You're great. You're great.
I
was kind of kidding, but like
so-
also like I'm gonna forget my thoughts. But
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be stupid.
That's happened like 5 times.
It's gonna be really stupid. Sorry, guys. It was good. Like
We'll
10 minutes
chop
ago.
that.
It's fine.
No, now see, I don't remember what my thought was.
Awesome.
Getting
Good
back
for
to
me.
it. Yeah.
All right. So
Just long enough.
I wanted
Yeah,
to, okay. So I wanted to, I'm actually going to touch on kind of what we just talked about. So you say there's no God. Obviously, you're dissuaded with organized religion because of that, because why would you be like, oh, well, this is really cool if you don't believe there's like a purpose for that thing to exist? I know you
I like going to church.
I like you like the community, you like the human whatever getting together every time.
And people trying.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Churches do
It has to
good
happen.
things. There's like we were looking at Lauren's
agree.
Aura Ring data, her like cortisol levels, everything's like on Sunday mornings.
It's just
And
so
the rest,
weird.
the rest of the week is like up here. And they're obviously like a net positive for communities, whatever. And ours is really nice. It's great. We can walk. It's so cute. Great. So you like going to church. I would say,
Although I don't very often.
even though I do believe in God, and I always have felt a stronger connection to that sort of
You don't totally.
father figure, which I did not understand, by the
Mhm.
way, like at all for a long time, but I believed there was something
Mhm.
there. I also have been very dissuaded with organized religion. Like it is still the thing that like makes me a little bit cringe sometimes. And I don't like that because I do think it's net positive, but I think that there's inherently, like I have a little bit of your skepticism, right? Like there is something about me that just wants to point out like how ridiculous and surface and like oh my gosh, I can't believe like everybody's bowing their heads at the same, like I still have that like little bug in my head, right? But it's
a lot of non-believers pretending to believe. That always bothered me. I'm like, you
right. And then you see like, you know, the mega pastors and their billion-dollar mansions, and there's like a lot of stuff you can poke holes in, right? And there has been historically too, like
prophets of prosperity.
Yeah,
all that.
So I think that like that to me, like I do have a little bit of cynicism still.
Same.
However, I have a really good friend who one time told me to feed the fish food. And I was at such a low point, you know, last year. I literally just started going to church. I didn't know what the heck. I wasn't trying to find deeper meaning. I wasn't trying to make it something. I just went through the motions. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, going through these motions, like
feels good.
I feel good. Things are changing in a positive way.
Yeah.
So that maybe all of these people that I've been like, oh my gosh, you brought your Bible to church and you're taking notes. Literally, like that was in my head. What a loser.
Well, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, no, it's like I just had this like edge about like,
yeah,
people are trying too hard. People are trying too hard. Yeah. Like, right? Like, yeah, holy rollers. Totally.
You know where that led. We all do.
But yeah, so I'm saying like I get that for a variety of reasons. But I think that like I've just found both on a deeper emotional human, like in my deepest intuition, my cells, my spirit, my soul, mind, body, you know, being, I feel something that is not in this world. And then flip the script, going through these really simple motions of going to church, going to small group, reading the Bible. Like, I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Like that's who I am. I'm a don't tell me what to do kind of person. And I am so glad that I broke that. Well, I didn't break it down myself. God broke it down in me, because I've realized that there's something to that. And there's a reason that even though the church has, you know, misstepped and has been right, like
centuries of like warfare and violence.
Yeah. Married out.
Little oopsie there, a little crusade there. Yeah, a little like Protestant Catholic, thousands of years of warfare.
But no, like even though like that's happened, it's been contorted by humans who obviously are not perfect. We're not God over time. Blah 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 blah. I think there's
made in his image.
I think like LOL that you were like, you know, Constantine is like, you know, luckily that worked on his deathbed. Yeah, luckily, but not luckily. Will, like I think that
I know you.
Those things that just open that hole and it shoots through, and this is what survives. Like there's a reason for that. I think that there is an order to it, and I think you have to look at. I think you can look at your own life and trace back when that has been true on micro levels, and I've seen that example in my life, and then you can apply it historically. You can apply it to scripture. And I think it makes a really good case for that. Now, this is the next thing I'm going to say, and I promise I'll sum it up.
This all sounds very practical.
I am
living a good life.
I'm a practical. I'm a practical. Yeah, right.
Yeah, wait. Well, yeah.
I am a practical person.
Who are you?
Which I. Well, I think actually, like, sorry, I'm getting mad, but I am practical and I am pragmatic. So that's why, like, I feel that I try to like see this from all perspectives, right? But I think that your argument of like, why only 25% of, you know, of the world Christian, or why wouldn't God do this? Yeah. I think that just, to me, it's like, that you don't have a relationship with him, clearly. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but like,
I don't.
I know you don't. That's what, yeah.
So, but he's all powerful. So like, I might be doing better good for the earth than you guys, and you guys wouldn't even know it. And even because we don't have control, I thought God controlled it all.
What do you mean? But by that statement, how would we not recognize that you're doing better good for the earth?
Because isn't God's like mystery and grace like all part of it? Like we can't see or know his mind. Isn't that part of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So then how would we know whether or not
that's not
me? Well, I know grace isn't that, but like,
you want to see how I think of that? I think of you, the fact that you question, the fact that you challenge, the fact that you have educated yourself to the point where you can engage in discourse is a part of his gift that you are to this planet.
And he'd rather you be asking the question than not think about it.
How do you know that?
Because I'm not joking.
Like, it doesn't say that in the Bible.
No, that is not what it's all about. It is literally,
he is supposed to be read literally.
And he is living.
But Christians have read it literally.
Yes, that's right.
Well, yeah, we're hope.
Yeah, come on. Then there was, I'm just going back through the history of what the frameworks of thought that you're basically owing them to God playing, the fiddle with people over time. They're just like, oh, almost the religion's almost snuffed out. Let's get it back through Constantine. All right, I'm going to play that. It's like he's doing stuff all the time. He's coming in, jumping in when it's needed. Honestly, to me, this all feels very much. And the thing is, people that have the philosophy that I have, they don't have to be dark about it.
Yeah.
They're very humanistic, loving, and I'm actually a pretty loving, glowing, optimistic person. Like I said, in my daily life, I live that way.
Yeah.
Philosophically, logically, scientifically, historically, it doesn't make any sense.
I live in a gutter of despair.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
No. Let me just finish my one thing. Okay, so anyways,
Can
I
write
think
great.
that, like, I really do think that, like, if you feel it, you feel it. If you don't, you don't. Great. That's fine. You don't feel it. But knowing what I know about God, which I can't know everything in his mind or his ways, to your point, I don't know when he's going to come shoot through for Constantine or for Moses or whoever for me.
For me.
Because I don't understand his purpose. And somebody explained it to me like this the other day. It was like, if you threw me in an advanced calculus class right now or something, what's that? Theoretical math.
Yeah,
whatever.
theoretical mathematics.
I could sit there and I could listen. I still wouldn't understand it. I could sit there and I could listen to God's plan. I'm still not going to be able to understand it. So I don't even throw that out, right? But what I do know is if you feel it and you feel a presence and a guiding hand and that love in your life, then
it's not my free will.
What?
It's not my free will. It's God.
No, it is your free will. That's what I'm trying. Sorry, I'm trying
to say God is humans.
I got on a little bit of
humane.
I got on a little bit of like a tangent there, but I guess the point is like what you're saying. Your question about the 25% shows to me that you don't have a deeper understanding of the nature of God, because why would somebody that loves us just come down, say, this is how it's going to be, everyone's the same, whether that's, in religion, or like people always ask, like, well, then why is there sin?
Unless he's trying to torture us. Well, why would he torture us then? Why not just give it to us? Give us the answer.
Ourselves.
Give us the answer.
You're just mad you don't have the answer. You just want to be God.
I think that every being is basically its own God. I don't think there is a God. I think we're all just our own species, our own beings.
Do you think we're all connected in like an energetic, like we cross over from this life, we all go back to the great light?
I think it's more physical, like physics than that. I think it's more like chemical, biological, physical than that. I don't think it's like whimsical spiritual energy. I think spirituality and soulfulness and stuff is a outcropping of our neuroscience and our evolution and our deep ability and capacity for connection. Our cerebrality is where that stuff comes from. Because I think that is and that neuroscience has replaced a lot of what we thought was soul and what we thought was spirit and things like that.
And it's also
we haven't even scraped the surface of it.
I mean, the new like quantum, that new quantum particle study that came out or whatever that shows that like particles actually don't act until they are interacted with or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And that they can communicate over like great distances. Like I think there's a lot that you can then go put into an argument for God as well. But
I think it's really easy to say that it's like all God, and then when you say, oh, it's not always all God, we have our own free will, that just sounds like you're just playing whichever point you want to make at whatever point you want to make.
That bugs me. Wait. No, I get what you're saying, and that annoys me that that's how that comes off. Because I think there's a better way to explain it.
It's just like,
sorry, I think
get back. We're on like question 3.
We're 45 minutes in.
There's a better way to explain it, and it's that. Okay, so I think it's that you have to take yourself out of the equation a little bit, right? Like, because I'm not the point. I'm not the purpose. So I'm serving something that's greater than me, in which case I can admit that person, thing, energy, love, and plan is higher than mine. I am a human. I'm here on earth. I am going to sin. I'm going to live a human life. I am going to have trials and tribulations and whatever. I think that the ability to do that is proof that he loves us, because like I said, I don't think perfection is
he's torturing. Why would he make us not?
So I believe that he experiences himself through us. So like there is a piece of God in you right now that is like we are connecting on that. Like I can look at a beautiful sunset and that is him appreciating his work. Like the creation of interpersonal dynamics to sunsets to
It's actually probably
to
chemicals
science,
walking
to-
off in factories interacting with cloud particles and creating color, but that's all right.
Okay, my turn to jump in. My turn to jump in. So,
I mean,
if you,
yeah, Sarah.
so if
I
you,
knew this was gonna happen. I'm like kind of sorry, guys. By the way,
No,
I
this is
feel
great.
bad about this.
This is
I didn't really. Yeah.
We don't.
Anyways, good.
This is.
So
Let's
here's
let
the
him
thing.
rip
This is the good thing about this is
I don't think you're winning, by the way.
okay. There
So-
is no winner.
I know
and
you
loser.
think.
Okay, time out. Starting over. There is no winner and loser. Okay.
Because I always win.
That's
So you're fine.
So I have some real questions for you.
Okay.
So let's believe for a minute that all of this is manufactured to perpetrate something, right? To whether it's control over humans or whatever you want to think, religion as a whole, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And you talk about how you kind of think that each individual is maybe like their own god. So if this is a fully malleable, manipulatable concept, why haven't you made it what you want it to be and chosen to believe your own
Well,
religion?
It's a great question.
Well, so taking a step back, I said that, each individual could be God or is God. It's not really what I meant in terms of like having the omniscient, all powerful nature. Like this is a semantic issue if we're going to talk about that. The everything being connected to God, I don't see a hierarchy between a squirrel and a seal and a human like it just doesn't. I just think everything is connected to an energetic life force that could be explained by God at the very beginning, and nothing else should be explained. I don't think there needs to be that much explanation. Every other animal is evolved in its own way. It has its own behaviors, tribal attributes, individual attributes. That's what I mean when I say that everything has its own like connection to God. Well, let's call it that, because that's what I mean. The second part of your question, why haven't I then applied,
If you're
all of this if I'm my own?
Yeah.
So
because I don't think that there is that like heaven. I don't think there is that hell. I don't think there is that like direction that everyone is saying there's this big purpose for everything. I think we just live and we get by and we die and we go back into the earth and we regrow as a flower or something, and maybe in another 10 billion years, which it took 10 billion years for like asteroids to pummel the watery earth until it even had a modicum of soil to grow off of. But that's reflected, people used to think it was literal. It's metaphor or allegorically in the Bible. But
the world didn't start 6,000 years ago.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but like all those Christians that thought tried to make sense of it, and they're like dinosaurs had to be there. So like you got like David and Luke riding dinosaurs to the fucking meeting, and you're like, okay, like guys, like chill. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, dropped an egg, go get it. Hatches, it's a brontosaurus. Like that's this. Well, that's just like fun, but yeah. So like I'm not like I just don't think that there needs to be a great like big purpose. I don't think we have to have this grand thing. So that's why.
So you're saying you haven't like mastered or whatever life because you don't see it as like objectively good or bad things. It's just you're just going through a day. It's like very.
I think it's a
Stoic.
Stoic.
Okay, that's just.
And so
Yeah.
that's in
Will is a Stoic, is what I have learned.
Yeah. Because I'm not mean. I'm not trying to hurt people. I don't hurt people.
No, you don't at all.
And I'm not trying to dismantle God because I don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
By the way, so
None of us
let's
do.
clear that up. Yeah.
I mean, well, let's just say none of us know for a fact.
Exactly.
That's why there's the word faith.
Yeah.
Because you have to believe something you can't know.
And I agree with that because there have been many times where the scientists and the philosophers, they had it all figured out. And then you know what? There's this guy, Thomas Kuhn, he wrote a great book called The Theory of Scientific Revolutions, Paradigm Shifts. And nice. That is like, so it happens in other ideas too, but that's almost where I lump in that all like we're all kind of doing the same thing. Like that's the cycles I'm talking about. But at the same time, again, I don't know. So I'm not going to like say that I do, but this is what I believe without faith.
My father has his master's in theoretical mathematics, and so he and I have very similar conversations every other holiday. And you can take most of these big concepts like Darwinism and other evolutionary ideas or creation ideas, and you can dial them back, you can fact check, but you ultimately end up at a place where something can't be explained, right? By anyone up to this point, because we,
Mhm.
like you said, something happened.
The
that
initial,
none
that's
of
what
us
I think. Yeah.
know about, right?
Yeah.
And for me,
Agree on
because I've grown up having to
To this
hold,
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
hold science and mathematics in one hand and faith in the other hand, and I've had to find the intersection of those two things for me personally, and so that's what I have attributed God to, was the thing that I can't mathematically explain, physics can't explain it, there's no science or literature text that can explain it, and that is God to me. So kind of similar.
I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, call it whatever you want, but
Right.
I think
And to me,
that makes sense.
That's what I call God, right? And then for me, the Bible is viewed as a collection of parables used to teach me how to be a loving human, right? It's not to tell me how to live my life. It's not to tell me I'm a sinner,
Or to be used as a weapon.
or to be used as a weapon. It's literally a book of people talking about, hey, this is something I learned as a follower of Christ, wrote it in a story that was easy for someone to digest, and says, hey, learn something from it. Do I believe things that, like, did God literally walk on water? I struggle with those sort of extreme things. Did he, some of the other ones, heal a blind man? Maybe he didn't make the person see like we see today, but maybe he opened up his mind to religion, right? So there's ways to interpret the Bible, interpret religion. And I think that the reason it is designed that way is because that was God's intention from the very beginning.
I think that's very beautiful and well said. And you guys sound more like deists and spiritualists than Christians.
So that
historically
speaking,
I would say, not talking about New Age Unitarian type of Christian thinking. I'm talking historically. You guys sound like
that is more where I fall naturally, I would say, and I think that you're relatively the same.
Yeah,
I have been just in my, like, I would say, return to spirituality, not even just to Christian, but to God. I came back to God, right? Whatever that means. I, like you said, I do like to consume a lot of information. I am a sponge. I decided that I wanted to know, like, exactly what I was believing and what the arguments were for it. And I am now, like I said, I feel the Bible speaks to me. I know it's not literally supposed to be interpreted. I don't, but there are things that I just feel in my bones are universal truths and that are unexplainable that come to me through this text. And I also think that I have been pretty convinced to how I would say to move away from spirituality and lean into the fact that I am a Christian. But my case for it is very spiritual. It is because I feel, based on all of the things I have read, all of the things that, different texts, different podcasts, different whatever, they've come together. They're like, this is what happened, right? I can't make any, like, to me, the thing that makes the most sense is that this all loving power that created the world, right? He comes in, he is creation to me. And it's a very masculine energy, right? For the, beginning, we're pounding the planet with asteroids or whatever. Right. And then it's like, the first people, and it's rough and it's whatever. Yeah. And then they got the right to vote
50 years ago, whatever. So it's been a pretty masculine, process. Like, but I'd say for worse.
So, I'm looking at that, I'm going all the way through the Old Testament, right? And then all of a sudden it's like he, to me, all knowing, all powerful, all present, and really intentional, in that all of a sudden it's like he's going to come down and, like, be among us. It's like a second creation, right? He created the world, he kind of muscled it into existence, and he's, flooding it, and he's this and he's that. Then all of a sudden, what do you want to do? You want to have relationships, right? So he comes, it's almost a more maternal. We're made in his image, so that's
so then why?
It's almost more we're not.
We are.
Okay, some people are.
But think about
but like, look at the history of, like,
because of the socialization.
Love is not a popular movement. Fear is, historically speaking.
Because humans want to default to control
every political
and their own agenda.
Ideological.
Because we're human, we are going to default to humanness anyway. So, but then I see he came down. I see it as a second creation. If he is incarnate, like, I'm going to come figure this human thing out, because it sounds like it sucks.
I thought he was omniscient.
He is.
So why is he need to figuring it out?
because you can't.
I'm seriously asking.
I think that it's like literally that energy. I don't think you can experience something. I think he can, have created it and understand. But I think it's fine. If you are omniscient and you are all powerful, wouldn't you want to come be born as a baby and be like, I want to see exactly what that feels like.
I want to experience
Yeah.
firsthand accounting, which I get, right? I think you can be considered.
Punch a dagger into someone and tear their chest open.
Did Jesus do that?
No, I'm saying that's what humans do all the time.
Yeah,
that's
but
what
I'm talking about but he came down.
We're violent, competitive. What are you?
I'm just joking.
Oh, I was like, what? Wait, hold on a second. I'm like,
what?
But no, anyways, so then
is that the devil? And then where does that?
But then as I see like the gospel's written and how I feel is the love, it became a more maternal, right? Like he went from like kind of paternal to maternal. And then he gets crucified, which was, by the way, talk about criticism of like the, socio-political structure, right? Like dies, comes back to life.
Yeah, he was like an anarcho-communist.
Right? Like, but also
Jesus was basically an anarcho-communist.
But I think it's
radical thinking.
I think honestly, like actually God, like what a cool way to freaking go out. You're basically saying this structure in this world can do the worst thing ever. It makes no sense. And I'm still going to come back and redeem it, right? Like to me, that's like, well, heck yeah, why would we pay attention to the church? Why? I mean, we have to pay attention to the church, but I'm saying like, it's like he kind of broke the structure down and is like diffusing it for us just in that act, right? By making that then, the abolition of our sins so we can go be with him. And then the Holy Spirit comes. That's kind of how I see the third creation. So it's God creating, it's God experiencing the creation of like this relationship with us. And then it's now he's living in us to continue to experience and create with us. I think it's like an artist thing too. Like I see it in this flow in my head. I see this gesture and I
want to push back on something. I want to press something. There's something you said that I don't have a deeper understanding of God. I think that everything I've said is actually proof positive of the opposite. I think that I've scoured.
I meant feeling. I'm sorry.
Okay, feeling. Thank you. I was going to say, because hold on a second here. And I think I have felt what you all would call God in very different places. And that's fine. That is not inconsistent or paradoxical or contradictory in any way. So that's not my point. I think what you would say you feel in the social context, I think that's just social evolution and neuroscience. But I do think I feel God more when I'm in nature. I'm like standing on cliff sides and I'm like, this is.
I think everybody is like that.
They mostly are. What I'm saying is I have that feeling you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a much more scientific explanation for it. But
hold on,
please, let me learn.
You actually interrupted me. I never finished mine.
Okay.
Hold on to your thought.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tie this up really fast. So my point is, I studied all the stuff.
It's better when
but the thing that a lot. The thing that I have some wine. But the thing that I like come back around to is I know we have to
late enough to start.
Yeah, it kind of is. But the thing that I come back, except I'm meeting 14, that I come back around to is so basically like as I'm studying all this stuff and things that actually the Christianity and the Bible are saying is happening, it's not because I think that the texts are telling me they're word for word, this is the thing. It's because of the feeling I get when I put it all together and I understand. And I think maybe being a mom too, like really, it kind of like pushed me outside of myself a little bit. And I'm seeing that sort of care and love and attention happening on page, not to the word. But all it did was point me back to this incredible feeling. And that's what I think is like the truth. I think that's how, and I trust my intuition on that level, I guess. Does that make sense? I'm saying
of course. I still think
that's why Christianity, because it made sense on paper to me, but then when I marry that with the feeling of what that all means to me, it's sort of.
I think it made sense on paper because, if you grew up in Vietnam, you'd have a different opinion. It was just a normative sociocultural standard that you grew up with. I think what this sounds like is that this is all something you guys want. Like, I don't want the reality that I'm saying is real. I feel like I'm looking at it objectively. You guys are wanting something and constructing all this other stuff around that. Like, I think that what I'm spitting is a uncomfortable truth, and you guys are preaching a necessary for your life's happiness want. And that's the difference, because I don't have a dog in this fight.
Can I say something? Whenever it's up.
Your dog's dead.
Oh, stop it. That's my thing.
Reverse dog, it's God.
Yeah. So for me,
Mom is gonna hate me after this.
Yeah, honestly, like, why are you talking?
you're
I'm
getting
just
it now.
being honest.
I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I'm just. I mean,
No,
So,
crisis of faith. Call it that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what did you just said something that made me have a really good thought. How this is what we believe in because it
We
makes us feel
want.
good.
That's something we want.
Something you want versus
Yeah.
what I'm just like observing and like see as truth.
Do you
Just-
believe, and this is a simple question, so just a simple
Yeah.
answer. Do you believe that there's anything bigger than yourself in the world?
Yes.
What is that? Simple answer.
Simple answer.
Shaq.
Okay, not physics.
He's like 6'5", just for reference.
I'm like slouching. So no, I think that I think that energy in the universe is bigger than me. I believe in it. It's out there. It's moving. It's doing wild things over a long period of time, and I believe that that is bigger than me.
Okay.
And it has created. You guys say it's God. I say it's a different evolutionary process. A social nature that I am not bigger than the society I'm in.
Okay.
Not bigger than the other people I'm around. And I'm certainly not bigger than the universe.
So now if you for a minute will indulge me here and put yourself mentally into a place that was the hardest thing you've dealt with today, emotionally. Okay? When you get there,
Sure.
there.
Today's been a pretty good day. Can we go back a few days?
No, I'm saying like in your life.
Oh, in your life. I thought you said today.
If that tells you how emotional of a roller coaster he is, he like expects it to be like every day has this like some high.
I think that's real. I think most people do that.
I said to date, not
Oh,
today.
okay.
So to date.
Literally, I thought she said
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
Like,
no,
that's like
to date.
2 dates. Okay.
So like in your
Yes.
life.
Oh, I've had a ton of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I want you to just try to get into
Okay.
that headspace and think about that, okay?
Okay.
And for lack of better words, what did you rely on to keep you from just saying, hey, I'm done with life and move on to the next phase?
Friends,
Mhm.
my family. I mean, just expressing myself to them
Mhm.
and feeling their support and their love coming back to me. I'd say that.
So do you feel
I
that-
did go to church when I went through my big divorce
Yeah.
and business exit and all this like tumult that happened over those years. I did go back to church a few times and I did enjoy it. So that's also honest. And I you know that because we talked about it.
Yeah.
And
And so
I just have never been able to get over that hump, guys.
yeah, and that's fine. But you
No,
said you
very
leaned on friends and family, and you feel connected to those people.
Yeah.
Do you feel connected to them just because you have the same DNA? Do you feel connected to them because, like, what would you?
Well, I think it's a
attribute to-
it's a complex answer between, nurture and nature
Okay.
and genetics
Nature.
and
You
yeah,
put nature in there. You said nature.
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, nurture and nature it
And the
has to be
energy
both.
that nature provides. So, like, obviously, we are connected to our family via nature and
Yeah.
DNA and all the things, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, for me, because I went through a similar situation.
And conditioning, social conditioning.
Of course, right. I mean, we cannot pretend that is not a part of our daily
We didn't
life.
have these same feelings when we were Homo sapiens on the plains of East Africa. I mean,
No,
so
it's
like,
food and sleep.
it was very different.
And I hear you go back a lot. Like I hear you reference history quite a bit, right? When
Yeah.
you're talking about why you feel the way you do today in the year 2026. Have you ever sat down?
Things of the past.
Have you ever sat down and
Yeah,
thought
Morris.
about like
I actually still sing a song by his that's called Don't Look Back. And now, yeah, it was Everclear. Yeah. Sorry, Van Morrison's covering Everclear. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever think like that is an antiquated way of thinking if I just continue to adjust my views of the structure or the lack of structure, however you want to think of it, religiously? How do you fit that in today's world when the world is so different?
I don't think it's antiquated. I think everything that's built upon itself is there for a reason, and that you like I would look at this like the Chesterton view of conservatism or liberalism. There's a fence in a field.
Mm-hmm.
The conservative or liberal walks up to it, sees the fence, is like, that's in my way, I'm going to tear it down right away. The conservative walks up and says, why is that fence there? Maybe there's a good reason for it. I'm going to assess this thing before I tear it down. Now, again, this is a more like a Republican leaning thinker. And I'm just saying, I think that relates to this because everything that's evolved and built up and has sort of infused itself into this current reality is a product of the past in like unequivocally that is true. So I do not think that is articulating any sort of anachronism. I think in fact it is the basis for forward thinking and progress.
Wait, let me.
Because paradox, if nothing else, if God introduced nothing else, it was irony and paradox in this world.
Paradox, yes.
And I think that, and I would, if,
Okay.
yeah. And so I that's where I would say, okay, in order to find the path forward as a tribe, as an individual, as a spiritual, non-spiritual type person, you have to dwell on the past to an extent. I think anyone that ignores that is lying to themselves.
So do you think that when we just a minute ago we talked about how women's suppression for many decades until recently we've been liberated.
Politically.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Do you think that runs parallel to the same thought? So like what if we were trying to retrofit how women were treated then into today's world? Like you retrofit religion and all you know about it into your own frame of thought today.
I mean, I don't fully understand the question.
I have a better example.
Okay,
I think I could add something on top of this, but
I don't know if this is going to be something. I don't know if this is a good example, but I think it's
something I want to mention in this.
I think what she's trying to communicate is it's like when and I don't agree with this because I still think that because of this there were systemic realities put in place that does keep you know, culture's differentiated at least, not saying that they don't now have equal opportunity, but I think it's more like when if you're looking back at slavery and people are like, well, we still can't get jobs because you guys enslaved us. Is that what you're saying? Like they're like this being hung up in the past so that you're not able to evolve into the current state or mindset of what is happening now.
Yes. Because especially for someone like you who feels like all of this is open for interpretation, manipulation to fit what serves one individual best.
Also, I have something to say.
I'm still losing sight of the question.
I'm going to tell you.
I'm not doing a good job of.
That's okay. I'm going to communicate something that's going to be really flipping on the head, and you're not going to like it, but I don't care.
I'm already liking it.
Right. Actually, as soon as I said that, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Actually, this is Will. So Will did not have social media until a couple months ago, despite me constantly telling him, you should write, you should rap, you should do all this stuff. No, I can't. I mean, he's like a stodgy, like whatever. Will's Spotify age from Wrapped last year, they thought he was 80. He
listened to a lot of old music.
I mean, stuck in the past. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I think the music is the purest form to anything I would ever call spiritual connection. Now, again, it's more likely than not neuroscience.
Is it nature?
No, as a human endeavor.
Creation.
As a human endeavor, as an active human endeavor, music, and like, you know, when you look at Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series, he's like humans evolved to first hear and love music before they created language. I think music is that embedded in you could call it spirituality or just our socio, anthropological consciousness and evolution, that it is so powerful that it is divine. I think it is like something that gives feeling, like the way you're talking about it. I think it is like the most important and valuable, wonderful thing human beings can do.
You believe in music.
I believe in music. And I think that is the one area. That's where I would go to. Like, I'd be like a Bud Powell or a Charlie Parker, where they felt God only.
Yeah.
Only ever did they feel God in music. I could go that route. I could discuss a very historical, musical, scientific, spiritual discussion around that.
So that
I don't box myself in. I guess I don't want to be portrayed as someone who's a stodgy conservative historical thinker, because I'm not conservative. I'm not stodgy. I am skeptical. And I don't think mapping your feelings onto trends and calling it religion and God is necessarily of any more value than it is to look back on the history and the ancestors that created you and built you into the position you are and call that, for a reason, Chesterton fence style. I think that's just as valuable as the other.
We're different too, because I don't feel connected to the past. This is really weird. Like, even like,
Yeah.
I don't see my kids as extensions of me. I'm like, oh cool, some humans I get to hang out with. I mean, I love them so much. I want to consume them back into my body. It is a love like I've never known. But I don't see my mom and dad as like I feel like you're like more like, oh, I want to make sure that I, don't do this, or I'm like not picking up. I'm just like, oh, these humans around me. Like I just feel very individual. I don't know why I always have. So I don't know why.
The conversation was
maybe I'm a new soul. The other thing that we're just going places. Yeah. Who knows where we're gonna end up? But the other thing, just watching what you just said about music, like that is God. I hear God in music. I see it in art. I see it in the sunrise. I know it's like waste particles or whatever you said, but like
more like
I think that is to me that is we're made
factories.
He's a creator. We create. We feel the best when we are creating, whether that's a home, whether that's a good environment and a work relationship, whether that's a piece of music, whether it's something that's making our souls sing and impacting other people positively. I think that is when God is at his highest. And it sounds like music really turned you on just now. And so I'm wondering, like, but then just ends because
it's my really it's my only it's the only spearhead you guys have into my soul to be religious. It's through music. If you're gonna try to you're gonna try to convert me, guys. Like, I'm just kidding. Like, obviously, that's not what we're doing. like, I get what you're doing here. All right.
It's a joke. Or like, what if he walks in and we start pouring
holy water? Exhale the demons.
Soulless, cynical pessimist.
No. But this was exactly what I was hoping it would be. As chaotic as it is. I mean, I think like
it's chaotic to have these conversations sometimes.
Well, and religion historically is chaotic, right? Across all different faiths. Yeah. I do have two questions I want to finish up with and just short and direct. And you just zip it. No, it is going to end with you both. So question for you. What do you think people in their 20s and 30s, because you're in your 30s and we're in our 40s, so I'm going to trust your judgment over our own. What do you think they're looking for as far as things around faith or lack thereof?
I think they're looking for, the first thing that comes to mind is authenticity. So I think something like this would probably be even more. I mean, people don't want to be brainwashed; they get brainwashed. Yeah. So I think that they want order, they want meaning. That's, I think, is the essence of all of this, in my opinion. But I think they're looking for authenticity. I think that even if they don't know it, that's what they're craving. Yeah. And so I think as religions have adopted and started introducing music, and bringing in younger, preachers and speakers, not getting these old white guys stuck in the past on some bullshit. Like, I think that bringing people in that can speak authentically to their ministries is like what people want and looking for, because they vulnerability is a great point, is a really important thing, I think, in that authentic versus artifice. And I think the more authentic it is, the more vulnerable it is, the more attractive it's going to be to this younger generation who, despite some of their behaviors, is pining for that. Oh yeah, I think
it's all the data shows that. I mean, aside from
And so religion could do a great service to those kids and give them a God that's not their iPhone. Right. I've been quoted in one of my rap lines saying God's been replaced by the internet in a sense. One of Randy's favorite lines of mine.
From high school.
Yeah, from high school. Because I was basically looking and seeing, and I was like, well, everyone's replacing their own spiritual and moral compass with this completely illusory idea. The funny thing is, you guys are after all this conversation, you're gonna laugh at me, because I just wrote a novella called The Business Park, and it's pretty dark. It's very richly literary fiction, intellectual, pretty dark. But the point I'm making is that this is what happens to people when they lose faith, when they lose community, when they lose locality. I'm not in my book, I'm not arguing for living this way. No, seriously. I'm not arguing for the way that I live. That's why I think I'm unbiased in this conversation. No, I think that, my novel is not an argument for me. It is an argument for what happened to me when those things were removed from my life. So you can take that point to the bank with this whole thing, because honestly, that is something that you won't hear or you won't get unless you know me and you're reading this piece. So this guy believes that this is just it and everything. But this is what happened in my novel, which is depressing, intentionally and anxious. This is what happens when you don't have these tenets.
You walk it down the road.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I understand how important this is.
Yeah.
Even if I don't believe it,
Yeah.
I'm just being honest in the fact that I cannot get this little thing upstairs to believe that, even though I know how valuable it is.
Well,
That's
then
the
I
ish
think
on holy-ish, so we totally get
Yeah.
that.
exactly. I think we know who would score higher in the IQ test now too.
So one
I think what I
final,
just said would have proved the opposite of that, but all right.
one final question for you two.
I just wanted to bother you.
I'm gonna I'm gonna ask each of you this. I'm gonna start with Sarah. If you had to sum up your faith in one word,
Oh,
and you're coming next, let's start thinking. One word, which is really hard for you two. But one
yeah,
word.
I know. That's honestly, my faith or faith in general.
Oh, yours. Like in your opinion, what's one word that you would use to describe? And it could be either faith, your faith, just one word.
I think I would say appreciation.
Okay.
And I'm so even being, I would say minimal.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Keep it simple. All right. So, Will, thank you for your time today. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah.
I know that.
This got pretty wild.
But it was fun.
I know.
And I'm just thankful
You
that
called this.
I did.
I do want to say I'm thankful that we live in a world that I believe God has blessed us with, that we can have these conversations. And you two are not going to hate each other, even if you weren't brother and sister. You would still not hate each other. So
actually feel closer.
right.
So
that's
I'm
going to call that divine intervention. You call it whatever you want. But I'm going to say that
social evolution.
Yeah.
Pointless nothingness, dark,
Yes.
gravestone. Thank you.
I'm offended because if you don't sorry, I'm
Okay.
not gonna start again. But
So thank you very
and
much.
do you even love me? Do you know what love is?
Okay.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Lauren, send this out. I'm gonna.
I have like 36 friends and a bunch of
You have
people in
3
my life.
dozen friends?
Yes.
Wow.
Like that I love, that love me. Like I get it. I get what it takes to be a good person and a good friend and a good partner and a person. I think that proves that I did it.
But I think that's God. I think love is God.
Yeah.
I think that is it.
I know.
That was my one
religion.
word.
That's where I started was love. But then
Religion,
that's how I would describe. That's how I describe faith.
I know.
Yeah, I think I would describe generally faith as love, or
Religion of the heart.
I guess my thought of what God is and faith. Like I would say that's love. But I was thinking about my faith. I was like, I'm just so appreciative, and I'm appreciative for that love, for people, for this life, for grace. So that was my.
Yeah.
Well, we hope all of our listeners enjoyed the banter.
Yeah.
And thank you for your time. And
We'll send you all Xanax to get through.
Yeah.
I am going to ask Will to do a rap about this session. So
Yeah.
That'll be fun. We'll post that up so you guys can get a little bit of that.
I'll do it in the voice of Martin Luther or John Wesley or Jonathan Edwards or something like that.
I love that. That'd be fun.
Cool.
Love it. That's great.
So thank you guys for your time. Enjoy all the chaos, and we want your feedback. If you feel like Will or you feel like us, let us know, because we would love to give Will some positive reinforcements. Bye, guys.
He needs it.
Yeah, some charity case. All right, bye.
Cut. All right. Wait, that was really fun.
I know.
Oh, my legs. I know.